Alira stumbled across the rocky terrain of Vega 9, her breathing shallow and uneven. The twin suns hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the cracked ground. She knew she was running out of time. Every moment the alien poison coursing through her veins burned hotter. Only her species had a natural defense, but she had none left. Her mission as a scout for the Veyrian Empire had brought her here to observe this strange human world. Now it had nearly cost her life. Her limbs grew weak and she collapsed near the ruins of an old Earth colony outpost. Broken metal panels jutted from the sand, rusted and weather-worn. She tried to call for help in her native tongue, but her voice was little more than a whisper. Her silver eyes flickered shut and she felt the world slipping away. From the sky a shadow moved. Captain Ryan Hale, an Earth human with years of experience in hazardous planets, spotted the faint figure against the reddish sands. He had been patrolling the area after a sensor scan showed life signs near the abandoned outpost. His pulse rifle was ready, but instinct told him to approach slowly. As he drew closer, he saw the figure, an alien girl, lying still, her breathing shallow. Ryan knelt beside her and gently lifted her head. Her eyes opened weakly, revealing a color he had never seen before, silver like liquid moonlight. "Poison," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ryan didn't understand the words, but the fear and pain in her tone were clear. He carefully scanned her vitals with his handheld device. Nothing matched anything in the human database. Alira tried to push him away, weakly shaking her head. "I can't," she managed. Her body convulsed as the toxin attacked her organs, threatening to end her life in minutes. Ryan ignored her protests. He had seen people die on countless missions, and he was not going to let her become another statistic. He lifted her onto his shoulder, carrying her into the shelter. The wind outside howled through the ruins, kicking up red dust. Once inside, he sealed the door as best he could. He spread her on the ground, removing pieces of debris that pressed against her frail body. Her breathing was rapid, almost unnatural. Ryan studied her, trying to find a solution. The medkit on his belt was standard. Nothing advanced enough to counter alien biology, but humans were resourceful. He remembered a long-abandoned experiment in Earth's labs. Human blood plasma could neutralize certain alien toxins, at least temporarily. It was a long shot and dangerous, but it was all he had. When he mentioned it, Alira's silver eyes widened. "Human blood? It will kill me," she gasped. Her culture had long considered blood sacred, never to be shared with outsiders. The idea of accepting it from a human was unthinkable. Ryan didn't flinch. He drew his survival knife and cut his palm carefully, letting a few drops of his blood fall into the purifier he had assembled. Alira froze completely, her body stiffening. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. She stared at him, disbelief and fear battling with the hope that maybe, just maybe, she could survive. "Why?" she whispered, her voice weak but curious. "Because I can't watch someone die if I can help them," Ryan said simply. He began mixing the blood with a neutralizing solution from his medkit. Carefully, he introduced it to her system, through the only access point he could safely use. Alira felt the warmth spread through her veins. The fire of the poison dulled slightly, as if confused by this foreign substance. Her body trembled violently. The sensation was not painful, but strange. The blood of this human, so different from her own species, was somehow helping her survive. She could not understand why. Her instincts screamed to reject it, but the physical relief was undeniable. Minutes passed and the change became clear. The toxin's hold on her weakened. Her heart rate slowed, her breathing became steady. Alira looked up at Ryan, tears forming in her eyes. She had been dying, and now, because of a human's choice, she was alive. "I don't understand," she said softly. "Then don't think about it," Ryan replied, offering a faint smile despite his fatigue. "Just stay alive." Alira nodded weakly, still trembling. She could feel the difference, the toxin retreating from her body. Her species had built this poison to destroy others, but it had never met a human willing to risk his own life to save an alien. The concept was new and foreign, and it stirred something deep inside her, a mixture of awe, confusion, and respect. Outside, the twin suns sank below the horizon, leaving a dim glow. Shadows stretched across the floor of the shelter. Ryan cleaned his own wound quickly, ignoring the small pain, and focused on Alira. Despite his exhaustion, he felt a strange satisfaction. Humans were never supposed to be able to save an alien from her own deadly poison, yet here he was, witnessing the impossible. Elira's strength slowly returned. She tried to sit up, but Ryan gently pressed her back down. "Rest. You're not strong enough yet," he said. "I owe you my life," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Her people valued honor above all else, and she realized she could never repay this human. But the gesture, the courage, and the selflessness were burned into her memory. Ryan nodded. "Just survive. That's enough for now." Hours passed. The wind outside grew quieter, and the temperature dropped. Elira finally allowed herself to close her eyes, trusting the human who had risked everything. She dreamed of home, of her people, and of the strange, unexplainable bond forming between her and this human. Ryan watched her, alert even in exhaustion. He knew patrols from her species might arrive soon, searching for her. The thought of confrontation didn't scare him. He would face whatever came to protect someone who had no other choice. Humans had always been underestimated, and he intended to prove it once again. By the time dawn broke over the rocky plains of Vega 9, Elira's condition had stabilized. She opened her eyes to find Ryan sitting beside her, his hand bandaged but steady. He offered her a small smile. "Thank you," she whispered, the words feeling strange on her tongue. "And I do not know how to repay you." "Just live," Ryan replied. "That's all I need." She studied him carefully, noticing the faint red lines on his palm, the fatigue in his eyes, and the determination in his stance. Humans were unpredictable, stubborn, and brave. She realized that perhaps they were more remarkable than her people had ever imagined. Elira slowly pushed herself to her feet, leaning on Ryan for support. The landscape outside was harsh, unwelcoming, but alive. She had survived a poison that should have killed her, thanks to the courage of a human who offered the ultimate sacrifice without hesitation. And in that moment, she knew the rules of survival had changed. Trust, courage, and the willingness to risk oneself for another. These were not lessons she had expected to learn from a human. As they stepped outside into the morning light, Elira felt a new sense of possibility. Her mission had shifted. Survival was no longer just about avoiding death. It was about understanding the strength that humans carried within them, strength that could defy biology, logic, and expectation. Together, human and alien moved forward, two beings bound by a shared understanding that went beyond language, species, and history. The desert of Vega 9 stretched endlessly ahead, but for the first time Elira felt hope, a hope she had never imagined she could feel on this strange red world. The morning sun rose over the jagged horizon of Vega 9, casting long golden beams across the rocky landscape. Elira's legs still trembled from the poison and the ordeal of the previous night, but she stood beside Ryan, leaning on him for support. The wind carried the dry scent of the desert, and in the distance the ruins of the old colony seemed to stretch endlessly. Ryan glanced at her, noting the faint glow in her silver eyes. "Feeling stronger?" he asked, his voice calm but steady. She nodded slowly. "Yes, the pain is gone, but I feel different." Her gaze flicked toward the horizon, as if sensing something beyond the empty plains. "I can feel the world in a way I did not before." Ryan smiled faintly. Humans had always adapted, learned quickly, and survived impossible situations, but he had never seen someone, human or alien, recover so completely from a poison meant to kill her species. He had saved her life, but it was more than that. He had opened a door to trust, and that was far more powerful than any medicine. They moved cautiously through the ruins, Elira still relying on him. She noticed how the human's steps were careful, deliberate, yet confident. "You are brave," she said quietly. "Even though you do not fully understand the danger." Ryan shook his head. "I understand enough. Life is life. If someone needs help, you help them. No one's worth leaving behind." Elira considered this. In her culture, strength and power were valued above all else. Humans, it seemed, had a different kind of strength, one that came from courage, compassion, and action. She had underestimated them. The memory of the blood ritual, the offering of his own life to save her, would remain with her forever. As they crossed a wide canyon, a distant hum vibrated through the ground. Elira froze. Her head tilted, ears catching frequencies Ryan could not hear. "They are coming," she whispered, voice tense. Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Who?" "The Varen patrols. They will search for me. They will see you as a threat." Her expression was filled with fear and uncertainty. They will not understand what you did. They will think you took me by force. Ryan nodded slowly. He had faced hostile forces before, but this was different. This alien species was powerful and their judgment harsh. Yet he was not afraid. Then we make them understand, he said simply. We show them what humans can do. Elira looked at him surprised. You are not afraid? Fear doesn't help, he replied. We act. That's what matters. They continued cautiously, moving toward the edge of the canyon. Elira guided him, teaching him to read the subtle shifts in the wind, the slight tremors of the sand, signs of distant movement. Ryan listened and learned quickly. Humans were observant, resourceful, and adaptive. His presence gave her a strange comfort, a feeling she had not experienced among her own kind. By evening, they had reached a narrow ridge overlooking a flat plain. From their vantage point, Elira could see the patrol ship approaching, a sleek metallic craft gliding silently over the red sands. Her pulse quickened. They are close. We must decide. Now. Ryan studied the ship, noting the patterns of its movement and the likely landing zone. We don't hide, he said. We show them the truth. What truth? Elira asked, confused. That humans can choose to save even when the odds are against us. That courage isn't measured by strength alone. Elira hesitated, then nodded. She understood his meaning. She would show her people that the bond formed between them was not weakness, but something entirely new. A choice. The patrol ship descended onto the plain, kicking up clouds of dust. Figures emerged, tall and imposing in dark armor. The Varens' weapons were trained on them immediately. Elira's heart raced. The code of her people demanded obedience, yet she could not deny the human who had saved her life. She stepped forward, raising her hands in a gesture of authority. Stop, she shouted in her native tongue. Her voice carried across the plain, clear and commanding. The Varens froze. Elira's words were filled with both warning and declaration. This human saved me. He chose to offer his life so I could survive. He is not my enemy. The commander, a tall figure with a silver crest on his helmet, approached. He examined Ryan carefully. Human, he said, voice sharp. Your blood is toxic to us. Yet the girl stands alive. Explain yourself. Ryan held his ground, speaking slowly and clearly. I risked myself to save her. That's all. No trick, no weapon, just choice and courage. The commander studied Elira, who nodded slightly. It is true, she confirmed. This human gave me life. Against all reason, he chose to save me. You may see it as heresy, but it is true. A tense silence fell over the plain. The Varen soldiers lowered their weapons slightly, observing the girl who had survived the poison. The commander's eyes narrowed, then softened. Perhaps humans are more remarkable than we believed, he said carefully. Your choice. It has value. Ryan's shoulders relaxed, but he remained alert. He did not know whether the patrol would accept this reasoning fully, but he had earned a moment of respect for his action. Elira stepped closer to him. You truly saved me, she whispered. He nodded. That's what humans do. Sometimes we act even when nothing guarantees success. The Varine commander gestured to his soldiers. Leave them. Today your courage has proven stronger than our assumptions. Let it be known. Life may be protected even across species. As the patrol lifted off, Elira looked at Ryan. Her eyes shone with a mixture of gratitude, awe, and something deeper, a connection forged through peril, choice, and understanding. My people will call this unusual, she said softly. They will not accept it easily. Ryan smiled faintly. Then let them learn. Humans aren't perfect, but we fight for what's right. For the first time, Elira realized that survival was more than strength and strategy. It was about courage, trust, and choice. Ryan had risked his life not because he was ordered to, but because he chose to. That choice had changed everything. Together, they continued across the plain, leaving the patrol behind. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and orange. Elira's legs were steadier now. Her heart, once heavy with the burden of the poison and the mission, felt lighter. You have taught me something I never expected, she said, that life can be saved. Not by power, but by will. Ryan nodded. And humans have much to learn too. About trust, about others, about hope. As night fell, the stars revealed themselves across the vast Vega 9 sky. Elira gazed upward, marveling at the constellations, feeling a sense of belonging she had never known. She had survived a poison that should have ended her life. She had been saved by a human whose courage knew no bounds. And in that moment she understood that her mission had changed. She was no longer just a scout of the Varian Empire. She was a witness to a new kind of strength, one that bridged species, defied expectation, and honored life itself. Ryan glanced at her, offering a reassuring smile. We moved forward together, one step at a time. Elira nodded, feeling the weight of the past night lift from her shoulders. The plains of Vega 9 stretched ahead, uncertain and dangerous. Yet for the first time, she felt hope, a hope that came from understanding, courage, and the bond formed between human and alien. They walked side by side into the night, united by survival, respect, and the unspoken knowledge that the impossible had been achieved. The desert winds whispered around them, carrying the promise of tomorrow and the story of a human and an alien who had defied the odds together.